Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TRS Live with your hosts Brian Keller, Matt Trotz, and Zach Hoffman, presented by The Real Shot.
I'ma do this here forever.
EQ.
Forever.
Triune.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Let's go.
All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Y'all road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My drive is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
It's Monday.
See, I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that today. I'm coming in fired up.
He's fired up.
I'm fired up.
You just got done fishing for
Right.
a week and a half,
I'm
whatever
jacked.
it was.
I'm jacked.
You
I'm tired, but I'm jacked.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it in my face, but I am exhausted.
You look like you got a little windburn as
It was
well.
a lot of windburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's sunburn, but from what
Definitely
I've
not
heard
sunburn.
from you, it was not the sun.
It was not sun.
From the pictures on social media, you were bundled up like you were ice fishing back here in
only
Wisconsin.
The only thing that was exposed were my fingertips, my nose, and my cheeks. That was it.
Nice.
And that's what's charred.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, even his
So-
nose is peeling a little bit.
Yeah, it's brutal. I wish it was from the sun. I really do.
Yeah, well, at least the sun's shining here.
Good morning, everybody.
What is up? What is up? So, yeah, it's Monday, and we got some good weather pushing through in Wisconsin.
Yeah, finally.
I don't know how much wood I could find to knock on.
Maybe
but
it's all me. Maybe I took all the crappy weather down with
perfect.
me,
Good job.
and then I brought whatever good weather they had coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll run with that.
Yep.
Let's go with
Let's
that.
just leave it like that. So, Zach, how are you today?
I'm not too bad.
That
Not too bad. Had
So-
a great weekend. Everything's
See,
good.
Zach was out of commission a couple days next week. Did
Was
you
he?
hear about
No,
that?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
No.
I was dying. I don't know
Virtually was.
what
Morning,
happened,
Tyson.
but it was horrible.
Yeah, he was had food poisoning.
Yeah, was it actual food poisoning?
Yeah.
That's rough, man.
Yeah, it was really rough. I mean, I made it in here to do the show on Monday, and then by the time we were done with the show, I literally just grabbed an SD card with everything on it, and I'm like, I gotta go.
Matt told me that. I was proud of
no.
you. Way to be a trooper.
Yeah. So
I got this. I got this.
Way to be a trooper, man.
way to be a trooper.
Because
So-
Matt would have been in an absolute panic if you weren't here.
oh man,
He'd be with the phone just like,
it'd have
Hey.
been even more. It would have been even more Garth, like on Wayne's World. Hey,
Right?
Hey, did you
Right?
like that touch? We added that. The
No,
first
what it
show?
was? No, I missed
Oh,
Oh, no, I did see that.
Yeah,
I
the
did see
very
you were
first
sitting in the
show.
middle by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you ever see that episode? What is it? Scanners, or the dude's brain blows up?
Right?
Right.
So Brian obviously is back in studio. You were down fishing the what the heck Angler's
It
Choice?
was the
Classic?
2019 Angler's Choice Championship, Classic Championship.
Dude, they need
called
to
it.
shorten their title. That thing is, I tried typing it out. I'm like, this is gonna take
It's a lot of words.
A
for
lot
you,
of
right?
words.
Yeah.
A lot of words. They should
So, yeah.
abbreviate. How'd it go?
Went good. We'll get into that. What are you wearing?
This is the new Nomad turkey vest.
Yeah, are you that hard up for out
Dude,
hunting?
I'm pretty stoked.
I was not that stoked. Like, I was excited, and I'm like, I'm ready to get out there, and I want to take a
Yeah.
bird. And then we left town at 7:30 Saturday morning to head up to Eagle River to go riding.
Yep.
And every field was just loaded to the gills of
Littered.
turkey. And then 10 minutes into our ride, we come around this corner pretty fast, and there's a whole group of them just sitting right in the middle of the trail,
Yeah.
and we're just like,
Yeah.
what do we do? They wouldn't move.
Yeah.
So I was ready. I'm ready now.
I just wanted to show this off real quick. So this is the Nomad turkey vest. I can't remember the name of it. Something bad.
I bet you it's on the
badass.
tag.
Probably on the tag.
Maybe.
But we have it in 4 different stylings, and the stylings are different camel. This one has like the mossy.
I
oak.
love that. That's that old school look
dude.
to it. I love
Yeah,
that.
The
yeah.
original. There's pockets upon pockets upon pockets.
So you can lose everything.
Yeah, you could put pockets everywhere. I mean, look at all
And that's
these.
got the flip down padded
Yeah,
seat.
yeah, I can
because
stand up.
he's sitting on it. That's why he looks taller today. See? He looks taller today.
I'm actually sitting on it. And then you can flip it up. Watch. Flip it up.
A little higher. There you go.
There it is. And it's magnetic, so it sticks.
Nobody can hear you. You don't have your
Yeah.
headset on.
I know. Well, you guys supposed to be relaying.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, you were supposed to be relaying. So,
Sorry.
anyways, what I just demonstrated there is the butt pad, and it sticks. It's magnetic, so it's pretty awesome. As well as like
you're gonna wear that all the time now, aren't you?
Yeah,
it's gonna be your new thing.
As well as like I don't know if you can see, but right here is for your strikers. Those are magnetic clipped. A lot of like loops.
I like the magnets though.
Yeah, the magnets are a
that.
nice touch. Plus, like here, I'm trying to get it up high enough so you can still hear and see it, but like there's loops everywhere. This thing is super comfortable, and we have a pile of them. So
there's literally a pile.
There's literally a pile in the warehouse for anybody that wants one to be.
Very nice.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm on your level now as I'm a little taller here.
I hope for all the guys that love turkey hunting, they don't have to turkey hunt in the crap I just fished in for a week. That's what I hope.
Well, we're gonna have the Learn to Hunt programs coming up, and we're gonna be hunting in about 1.5 feet of snow.
But you get to wear gloves.
Yeah, well, you could wear gloves as well.
It's hard to fish with gloves.
We have striker gloves that you could wear.
I wore striker gloves actually the whole time I was there, but it's the fingertips, because
you need the dexterity for tying.
Well, right, but the reels are all metal. We were talking about with the Hoyt bows being carbon and the cold on your hands. I wish I had all carbon reels. Because the metal on the reels would just eat right through the gloves.
Isn't the CI4 Plus
they are
giving
the
away?
CI4 Plus
yeah,
is
the
carbon.
one that we're giving away. That's got a carbon frame to it.
I wish I had carbon reels. That would have been awesome.
So do you even want to say the reels that you were fishing with, or not?
Oh yeah, no, I don't care. No, I use the Luz hyperspeed reels and I use the Daiwa Tulua spinning reels.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's just, I mean, the equipment performed great. It's just the metal was cold.
Right,
I mean,
it was cold.
A couple of those days was a high of 28 degrees. I mean, it's just cold.
Oh, right, because your hand
you're on it the whole day.
Your hand's coming up over the top.
Yeah,
of
your
the frame.
hand's on the reel all day, so it's impossible to keep my hand warm.
Right. What were the highs most of the time?
It was the first day we were there was like 60. I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is great. Well, then this cold front came through. And Sunday we had terrible rains. They had tornadoes that came through down there. They were about 100 miles south of us.
Mm-hmm.
But tornadoes came through, bad rains, wind, whatever. And then the cold front hit. And it was like 20s at night, high at 25, 30 degrees in the morning. Which, and guys up here are going to be like, well, we ice fishing that. Yeah, you're right. You do ice fishing that.
Right. You
ice fishing that, meaning most of you have a shack with a heater.
Yep.
It's 65 degrees in there, right, while you're trying to fish. I mean, our guides are icing up. I mean, everything was frozen. The wind, I mean, that's what most of this is windburn, not sunburn.
Right.
Just from driving around or whatever. It's just brutally cold. I way underdressed. I did not take warm enough clothes along with me.
Well, I was going to ask you, so I saw that you were wearing some hook apparel and you were also wearing some striker apparel.
I was really conflicted in what I was wearing.
Right.
Whatever was warm, I'm just throwing it
on.
Well,
but I mean, for the most part, you said you were underdressed a little bit, obviously the elements, but did the clothing perform like
the clothing was great. I wasn't, my chest and legs and stuff were warm. It was the face and the hands that I was underdressed in, and I think the hands is kind of a natural thing when you're trying to fish and you're trying to use your hands. And then your hands are wet all the time. Even the striker gloves are great because they're waterproof,
Yep.
Right.
Because, we were fishing a lot of braid, and the braid's always got water coming off it when you're reeling it in. And, bass fishing, I mean, you're making thousands of casts a day. I mean, there's just water flying all over the place all the time, and it's just hard to keep your hands dry.
Right.
But yeah, it was the gear itself was great. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite pieces is that hook vest.
Oh.
The hook vest part is my favorite because, I don't know if anybody's ever had cold arms. I've never had cold arms, but your chest gets cold.
Yep.
So being able to keep your arms loose to be able to maneuver, but to have the core be warm, the vest is my favorite piece. I love that.
Did you layer that under that striker coat?
Yeah, I had the hook vest under the striker jacket.
Right.
So and then the striker jacket being black was soaked up the 2 hours of sun we did see. So.
Well, and it's important to note that because we carry that stuff in store, obviously, and a good testimonial to how it performed. Now,
and then those striker hoodies are awesome. Those dual layer striker hoodies.
Yeah. Oh, what are those? Are the ones that Justin and I are twinning on?
Yes. Yep. I did before I left. I found the manufacturer of those.
Yes.
We are going to be getting TRS hoodies that are that exact material.
Yes.
We're going to be getting those. Those are awesome.
Good.
Those are going to be really awesome.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Those
stuff.
will be sick.
I'm going to look up while you guys conversate. I'm going to look up that striker hoodie. So
anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah. No, it was a good trip. So I mean, it's kind of just walk through it. I mean, like I said, when we got down there, Saturday was 60. Fish were biting. Everything was great.
Right.
We actually found our number one starting spot on the Saturday, the first day we were there.
Oh, nice.
Which was nice. The issue was trying to keep tabs on them. So when that cold front hit, the water temp we had was 60 degrees. right?
Yep.
Cold front hit, she just kept dropping. By the time the tournament hit, the water temp had dropped almost 12 degrees.
Holy man.
Which, if you're, you're a big hunter, and I'm thinking while I'm driving, how do I start relating this fishing stuff to hunting so that Matt can get more into what we're talking about here.
Perfect. Great idea.
But temperature drops are the same in all animals, right?
Correct.
Like they say a fish can feel like a tenth of a degree change.
Yep. Yeah.
They're cold-blooded,
Yep.
right? So at 12 degrees, I mean, to a person, 12 degrees is a lot.
Yes.
To a fish, it's like catastrophic. It's
Right.
like, what the hell is going on right now?
Yep.
These fish are moving in from deep. They're trying to move into spawn.
So these fish are all pre-spawn.
Yep, for the most
Okay.
part. There are some fish down there that had spawned. The real big, older females typically spawn earlier than everything else.
Gotcha.
But they were trying to move into spawn while the water's 60. I mean, they're kind of, surface temp was 60, right? So down below wasn't quite 60 yet, but they were trying to figure out, where am I going? Am I staging? Am I supposed to come in and spawn? What am I doing? And all of a sudden the water temp just drops.
They're
and
back
they're like,
out to the deep again.
do I go out deep? Do I stay in shallow? What do I do?
Right.
And most of it's dictated by the bait fish, and the bait typically seem to stay kind of where they were.
Yep.
Which was nice, but the 12-degree drop in water temp is not a good thing. I think the weights would have been, you would have probably needed 60 or 30 pounds a day to compete for the win, and I think it was like 51 won it.
Right.
So I think that 10 pounds difference is because of the weather that we were experiencing.
Nice.
Right.
So Sunday actually we didn't fish at all. We didn't go out at all Sunday.
Because of the weather? Was that
it was
bad?
just dumb. I know a couple of guys that I know were out fishing in that, and they said, "Oh, it wasn't that bad." And I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna end up getting sick, or it's just gonna be miserable. I'm gonna have just what's the point?
What was it like that made you not want to fish?
Just wind and rain.
Oh,
and
well,
it was
yeah.
28 degrees. I'm just like, this is
and
stupid.
that's a big lake, correct?
Oh yeah, it's 65,000 acres, I believe.
Oh man.
So
when the wind picks up, does it make whitecaps out there?
It wasn't bad because it's longer than it is wide.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's real long and narrow. There's a lot of back bays. They got a lot of protection from different wind directions. So I think, I've only been there twice now, but based on any bad winds you do have, there's somewhere you can go to get out of it.
Yep.
It's just we had a pretty good game plan going down there on where we thought we wanted to target, and I just didn't want to waste my time going somewhere else and trying to find something else. And,
Right.
The areas that were, like I said, we were making a real long run. So we could have fished closer that day, but what I've learned tournament fishing is that if you find something, the worst thing that can happen is you find a fish or you catch a couple fish that are way away from where you really want to be, because mentally it starts playing games with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we had a pretty good spot we found day one, and that was where I thought we were going to go, right? So the worst thing I can do is find something 20 miles the other direction.
Right.
That now you're like, oh, now what do I do? And you start playing those games with yourself. You know what I mean? Same thing with that hunting thing. You start, you got to trust what you scouted, but then all of a sudden that deer he'll show up on one trail camera that you didn't expect him to be on. Now you're like, well, now what?
Yeah.
Did he switch his pattern? Did he come over here? What's going on?
Right.
It could have been a total fluke. He just went with one random girl that night. Type of deal.
Yeah, just got to trust your gut.
So I've been doing the tournament thing for a long time, and I learned that those mind games that the fish will play with you sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, you'll catch that one fish, and you're like, oh, maybe I'm totally off, and I got to go over here and do this now. And I've just learned that 9 times out of 10 that never happens and never comes to fruition, so you're better off just sticking to your game plan.
Yep.
And I'd rather not have it happen, so I just don't even go try.
Right.
You know what I mean? And maybe that's a flaw, I don't know, but that's just the way I look at it. So.
Well, obviously it helped produce the first day. It seemed like you were sitting pretty good as of day one.
Yeah, so we got through practice. We put a lot of miles on covering water. Nothing seemed to look or get better than what we had found. The last day of practice, we've kind of found part of a pattern that was different than what we found day one. That ended up producing a couple of bigger fish that we caught in the tournament, so that was cool. Mm-hmm. But it was basically on the backside of what was going on. So what was happening was with the water temp dropping, they were also bringing the water level down because they've had tons of rain in that Tennessee Valley area.
Okay.
They've had a lot of rain coming through, so they were actually bringing the water level down while we were there, which those two things together is usually bad.
Yeah.
The saying is when the water's coming up, the fish are going shallow, and the water's coming down, they come back out. They get kind of panicky. They don't know.
Right.
How much is it coming down? Is this thing going to get drained? What's going on? They don't know. So day one kind of, the water was dropping the whole time we were there, but the water wasn't dropping enough that it panicked the fish. It didn't seem. Water temperature was bad. It went from 60 to 45, 46, 47. I mean, which from a fish's standpoint, that's really cold.
That's
Right.
that's really cold.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's really cold. To where on day 2, we got out there day 2, the water temp stayed the same, but they dropped it a foot overnight.
Oh man.
Which was like, oh my God, what are we going to do now, right? So that's where all of that practice kind of comes into play, trying to figure out spots. Like the spots we caught fish day 2 weren't the same spots we caught fish day 1 due to the fact that they were moving.
So did you know, obviously you knew that the water was dropping. Did you like plan and prep for that?
We thought about it the whole week. We kind of said, okay, if they keep dropping it, here's the next, like if they're here, here's the next hole they might go to.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Now, most of those didn't pan out, but it was definitely
You
in
still
our
had
thought
to
process.
keep it in your mind, yep.
If they're not here, I mean, these fish don't just magically swim 20 miles away, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
where's the next logical spot that they
Right.
might go?
They're still, yep.
So here's my question for you. So when you know or when you find out that the water is dropped like that and you take into consideration all the pressure from the weather and whatnot, what do you look for in a spot to go next?
Well, with the water temps being as cold as they were, we were looking for the next deep structure.
Okay.
So anything in deeper water that had something there to hold fish, right?
Rock
Because
piles,
rock
log-
pile, and they got a lot of underwater like road beds there.
Oh.
All that type. A small patch of weeds in the next level. Like if you're fishing 6 foot,
Right.
I'm talking the next drop might be 8 foot.
Right.
Depending on where you are. I'm not talking going out to 20,
Right.
but it might be 8. I mean, 2 feet of water depth to a fish is a lot.
Yep.
So I'm talking, you go to 8. Now you're looking for, is there an isolated patch of weeds? Is there a rock hump? Is there a stump field? Is there anything there that those fish could relate to? I mean, they don't typically. Now we're dealing with largemouth, right? So every fish species is different, but they don't typically just go randomly swim around in circles.
Right. They
find something because largemouth are ambush feeders.
Yep.
So they find something to relate to. Deer are the same way.
Yeah, yep.
So they find something to relate to that they can now use for ambushing.
Well, it's not like that bait fish is going to be out in the middle of the water just roaming around.
Right.
That bait fish is going to, try to attach to something as well. So did that, obviously this whole scouting process, did your electronics were probably key.
Huge. Oh, yeah, huge. I mean, I always call pre-fishing, again, I'm a little different than some. I call it eliminating water. I don't really try. And Justin knows this because he's been helping me. He's my pit crew guy getting stuff for me for years now, but I'm always trying to eliminate stuff.
Yep.
That didn't work. There's nothing over here. There's nothing over there. So that means that this section of water, I've never fished it before, but there's a good chance that's where they are because I've eliminated 80% of everything else.
Yep.
Right.
And that's how I've always fished tournaments is with that same mentality is I don't want to be pounding fish up to the tournament day. That's usually bad omen anyway. I want to know every place the fish aren't.
Right.
They're not anywhere else. They got to be where I haven't
That
been yet.
makes
Right.
sense. So, like, by using your electronics, then, did you just, use side imaging, down imaging, see if there was fish there?
Yep.
Throw a cast or two?
I actually
and then
I wasn't actually looking for fish as much as I was looking for the structure. So we
Right.
spent a lot of time just driving around for the most part, looking for those isolated weed beds. And then, based on that weed bed, okay, here's one of the points on the weed bed. Here's the secondary point on the weed bed. Because those are the places the active fish, if there are active fish there, that's where those fish are going to concentrate.
Right.
Okay.
Right? The non-active fish, they're going to go get buried back in the middle, right?
Yep.
They're going to just bury themselves in there, whatever. But the active ones are going to typically be on your different points or any kind of a structure difference or break. So we spent a lot of time driving around looking for gravel piles, looking for clam beds, looking for weed structure, looking for anything. I mean, there were certain areas where the weed growth was great. There were certain areas where the weed growth was only 2-3 inches. What were those fish wanting to relate to in those spots? So that's what we spent a lot of time doing, is just driving around, marking weeds, marking points, marking stuff that now we can come back and fish later.
So that part of the world, do their winter like we're having right now? Do weeds die all the way down?
Some of them do. It just depends on the
How cold it
species
really
of weed.
gets.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just depends, and then the water coming up and down has issues with it. The water currents in
Yeah.
places they normally don't have issues with. I mean, I don't know. It's only the second time I've been there. I don't know what the current is normally like in the main river channel, but there was a 5 or 6 mile an hour current in their main river,
Okay.
which I'm guessing from a reservoir, that's a lot.
That's what
I don't think-
Gunnersville is a
Yep,
giant,
it's
right?
a
Okay.
big impound, right? So, and that's actually it's I think 2 dams below where we're going this weekend.
Oh,
to Knoxville.
sweet.
It's all part of the Tennessee River.
Okay.
So they've had tons of rain, lots of water coming through, and I learned some stuff about water flow this week that I never really understood either.
Sure.
So if you looked at the map of Lake Gunnersville, there's all these different creek arms, and then the main river channel, right? Flows north to south towards the Mississippi. And I assumed with all of the current coming down the main river channel that there'd be current coming out of all the creeks. But there wasn't.
Was it feeding into the creeks?
No, it was almost like the water was coming down through the main river channel so fast that the water in the creeks was just stopped. Like there was like an imaginary wall there where there was almost no water coming out of the creeks at times.
Yeah, you think it
would all just flow together.
Right.
It was not doing that.
It was moving so fast.
Right.
That
And I'm not a currentologist or whatever. I don't even know what that is. Hydro engineer or something.
Like that, yeah.
But it was like there was like where the creek mouths were, the flow was like 5-6 miles, and it was almost like there was so much new water coming down from the dam that the water that was in the creeks was just stopped.
And so then I imagine them fish are probably on. That's a transition zone. That's an edge. So they're probably.
Well, most of them were back in further than that yet, but it could have been, for sure.
Oh, you think they'd want to be, because with new water comes more oxygen, comes more bait fish, technically, right?
Right, but this new water, and again, I'm assuming that the normal current in there is like a half mile an hour.
Oh.
So these fish aren't walleyes or current river fish.
That makes sense.
You're talking 5 or 6 times the normal current. They were just like, get me the hell out of here.
Right. Well, plus warmer water is probably further back in those little creeks.
So this was mountain water flowing fast. It was muddy. I mean, it was like chocolate milk.
That's what Zach said he wanted to have chocolate milk in here today.
It was that brown. It was just ugh. Yep. I mean, I don't know. I've never personally had any luck fishing in anything like that.
Yep.
So I typically try to find the clearest water, the cleanest water I can find, and that's typically where I'll spend my time.
Right.
But it was crazy to have that current that strong and not coming out of everywhere. Well, then to take it a step further, so day one of the tournament, we current in the river is just still streaming. Well, actually, one step behind that yet. The weird thing was the water level down by the dam was at normal pool. The water level up where we were fishing was like 3 feet high. I don't know.
Water's tricky.
It was interesting that there was more water up than there was down. Like down there was normal. Up here it was 3 feet, 4 feet high. Right. Which is really weird. Again, it goes back to this. I think there was so much new water coming down. Everything else was just kind of backed up.
Right.
Waiting. Right. Well, then to go into the tournament day.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not even.
We all just saw it at the same time. It literally stopped.
I'm not even going there.
I feel you there, Kevin. He's a high school friend of mine. So.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh man.
Does that explain it?
All right.
There's your Monday.
So talking about
Thanks,
water
Kevin.
current.
Perfect.
So then tournament day comes around.
Nailed it.
There was no current. We were fishing a couple of bridges, right? There's a lot of causeways and bridges there. We were fishing a couple of bridges, and there was no current on them, right?
Okay.
So which is fine. Day 2 we go in there. The first bridge we go through, there's a lot of current coming through. I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
Now this is day 2 of
this
scouting.
Is day 2. No, this is day 2 of tournament.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just I'm talking.
You're
we'll get back to the fishing. I'm jumping all over.
I know.
I'm trying to stay on topic.
Well, I'm trying to keep
current.
our viewers on task as well.
You know, when you do something like this for what was I gone 7 days, and you're on the water, sun up to sundown, everything kind of just starts blending together, and you basically check out for a week.
Right.
You don't think about anything else other than how to catch these fish.
Well, especially when you're fishing. Already when you're fishing, you're so focused that doing it for that long with a purpose. Oof.
Well, and that's all you're there for. So you come in at night, you re-rig your rods, you talk about tomorrow. I mean, that's literally what you do the entire time you're there.
And then no better way than to throw a competition in on it. And now you got a dude that's just hardcore, going to be no matter what.
Right.
So
that's current. So it was the weirdest thing. So the same little body of water, this creek arm. The first bridge you come to, there's current, there's flow. I'm like, all right, great, because what you want with current is that's what positions the fish.
Yep.
Right? If there's no current, they can go wherever. If there is a current, now there's seams, there's little breaks they can sit on, which makes it easier to fish.
Right.
It's
and
like
they're waiting for the food to come to them.
Yeah, or it's any kind of a funnel, right? But it's like, okay, we take this huge, massive area, and now we break it down to there's like 4 areas that those fish might sit in. Well, there's current flow. I'm like, okay, great. Which means our number 1 spot is going to just be loaded. Like, we're both excited. We get there, no current at all.
What?
I'm like, what is going on here?
So realistically, like under the water, there could have been like a log.
There wasn't, though. There was no current. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, there's got to be current here. For whatever reason, the water's lower. It's coming out. It's coming out now. The water's coming out. We're to a bridge behind the one, and there's no current at all. It's like zero. It was the weirdest thing ever.
You
I don't know.
should go back to school and get some.
I really should. I would love to explain. I would love to have somebody how that works within a river system.
I think it's a
whatever.
hydrologist. If that's the right word, a hydrologist. So if
Whatever
you're
it
watching
is.
and you're a hydrologist, please reach out. We'd like to
explain
know.
this.
It would be good. I mean, I'm going to do a little research on it because I'd be interested to know if there's what the methodology behind that is.
Well,
Right.
think about like a walleye fisherman here back in Wisconsin, how that kind of stuff could benefit
Oh, yeah.
them as well.
Oh, it is. A lot of this current flow stuff is exactly how you walleye fish. It's the exact
Right.
same thing, which is why I think it's something that it makes sense to me, because it's
Right,
it's,
you are a
it's
former
just how I think.
walleye guy.
So
Right.
anyway, yeah, it was crazy. Conditions were absolutely crazy. Never seen anything like it.
But
Yeah, Tim says the G-ville bridges are typically money, but current is a must. He's absolutely right. Without current, there's no reason for that fish to stage there.
Yep.
So it was interesting to say the least.
So you weren't fishing shallow for the most part.
No, we were in
early in the week. You were probably
early in the week. We were fishing shallower. We were in 4 to 6 feet of water for the most part.
the whole entire time.
Yeah, for the whole entire
Okay.
time. We went deeper. We tried to find fish deeper, but if they were there, they were so negative. You couldn't get them to bite, or I couldn't get them to bite.
Right.
Maybe some guys did. I mean, I know a lot of guys were catching fish on chatterbaits and stuff. And I couldn't get a bite on a chatterbait, so
Well, it's confidence
Whatever.
type lure, you know.
it could be.
It could be.
or it's a competition type lure where if you're around bigger schools of fish, like I talked to guys who were catching 20 or 30 fish a day. We were catching like 7.
Oh wow.
So we might not have been in an area with a lot of fish.
Yep.
The fish that we were catching were big.
Yep.
So I really don't care. I don't have a problem getting 6 bites a day
Well,
as long as they're the right 6
yeah,
bites.
You were
Right.
fishing for big 5. You weren't
Yep.
fishing for total number
Yep.
of fish.
Yeah, this wasn't like the MLF thing, so it didn't really matter
Yep.
to me. But the ones we were catching were the right ones, so that's what we kind of focused in on. And again, that was the area that I went down there thinking I was going to target anyways, and it seemed to pan out.
So day 1, you ended up in what place after
8th. We were in 8th place. We had 25. I don't know, 25-11 or something like that.
Were you sitting in 4th place for a while? Was
Maybe.
that-
I don't know.
I
No,
thought-
at the end of the day, it was 8th. We might have been early on because we were one of the first boats to weigh in.
Okay.
So, there was 316 boats
Oofda.
From all over the state.
all over
Or
the country.
all over the country.
All over the country. I think there's 20-some different divisions across the country, all sorts of different states. Kind of a cool little side fact is that the top 3 largest were all from Wisconsin.
Really?
Yep. The northern, the southern, and then I believe it was Lake Geneva divisions were all the top 3 largest in the country were all from Wisconsin.
You'd think
awesome.
that'd be totally the opposite, right? I mean, you'd think we'd have the less because we have less time
You know,
on
we
the water.
we
than
thought
they
a lot
can.
about that, but I think what that comes from is down south there's a lot of circuits. I think it's
Right.
more diluted down there.
Oh.
We're up here, guys have, if a BFL comes to town or one of the big circuits, okay, great, but there aren't a lot of like circuits.
Right.
Like I fished at English Choice last year. This year we're more involved with the Wisco Bass, which is a new one. There's just not as much competition. We're down there. I mean, they got a tournament 6 or 7 days a week on Gunnersville.
Right.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
tournament all the time. Like you could just randomly go up and there's tournaments. They got, they're running a big bass cash thing down there. They have tagged fish that they released in the lake.
And that's what you got to try to.
So if you catch one of these tagged fish and you paid your $50, you can win whatever prize is on the fish. Like one of them's a truck.
What?
Fact, yeah.
Oh, so the tag says what you win.
Yeah.
So there's
on the
literally a
tag.
pickup truck swimming around
Yes.
the lake right now.
And then it's really cool. Like they had a video. It was on Facebook. They had a video. Like here's the fish. Here's the tag in the fish. We're putting the fish in, and then they pan. Here's where the fish is released, and go. Yeah. And then if nobody catches the fish, I guess actually somebody caught the fish with the truck tag, but he didn't have a license. So he took instead of letting the fish go, he took the tag out and sent it in. I guess I don't know, whatever. But then they released a new one.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And then it runs from like now until July or something like that. And then if they don't have somebody that catches that fish, then they're just going to do a random drawing to win a truck.
But you obviously have to be entered.
Yeah, you got to be entered, of course.
That's
right.
a pretty smart idea.
But they've
really.
got so much stuff going on down there like that. Like bass fishing down south is like
Well, I can't
life.
wait to find out.
Right.
About
It's like life. It really is. It's
Yeah.
a whole different deal. I mean, we were fishing this one bridge, and I can't tell you the amount of people that stopped in the bridge, rolled down the window. How's it going?
Oh,
It's
really?
just, like that stuff doesn't happen around here. Usually
Right.
they're flipping you off because you're fishing their spot. You know.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
you get asked, but a lot of times you're tight-lipped about it. How's
Oh,
the
right.
bite? I don't know. Go find out.
See,
right?
I knew our first spot was a good spot. because we're on it. We caught a couple of fish, and this old lady pulls up, rolls her window down. Oh, they all go, "You getting them?" Yep, yeah, we caught a few. You're in a really good spot, and she drove away. I was like, I'm done. This is it.
Right. Problem solved.
I mean,
We're here.
Grandma just told me this is a good spot. I'm done.
Well, you think about it. She probably travels that road daily.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Sees boats in there daily, and probably majority of the boats say the same thing you do, whether you're lying or not, right?
Right.
I mean, you can use that same advantage in the hunting world as well. There are turkeys out in your field. Yep, every day about 2 o'clock, you see a flock over here. So
no, it was yeah, it's just a whole different culture down there with the outdoors. Like, this is what they do. I mean, like we're sitting on this bridge, this causeway, right? 9 out of 10 trucks go by. They're all pickup trucks. 9 out of 10 of them, and about 5 of them have been mudding somewhere.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's
or trying to get back into some place to do some scouting or whatever.
It's just
else.
a whole different world down there. It's so much more geared towards the outdoors than we are here, which is hard to comprehend.
And that is nuts because like Wisconsin,
I'm telling you the truth, man.
Tons.
Isn't
of
it? I think it's weird that Wisconsin's known for the outdoors, and I would say like a good 50-50 split of people who explore the outdoors and the other people who don't want anything to do with it. And it's totally different down there because you meet anybody. Whenever I go to with my family in Florida and I talk to anybody down there, no matter how they're dressed, they could be in a suit and tie, and all they're talking about is what their last hunt was like. And it's just insane to me. It's so different. It's
what
so
they
different.
do. That's the thing. It's
But
awesome.
Maybe it is because the weather is so nice for so long that they can get out and enjoy it. I don't know.
I mean, it's cool. Like things like boat landings. Like we got to pay these stupid $5 and $7 launch fees. Like they have no launch fees down there. You just go wherever you want, launch a boat, and there's boat landings everywhere. And
Well,
it's just.
I mean,
crazy.
it's honestly, it's a good way to encourage people to go fishing, right?
Right, for sure.
Now you're telling me I got to buy all this gear, and then now I got to pay $7 to put my damn boat in the water,
Or a $30 annual or whatever.
30.
But
I mean,
still, it's
I get it. Like we're not knocking those; those go to beneficial things.
Right.
But there's nothing more frustrating when you pull up to a boat landing, you drop $5 in, and the boat landing's in
Right.
trash.
well. And that's I was gonna say. I think the difference down there is they don't have the winters that tear everything apart.
Right.
Where
Right.
here, I do know that I realize that there's more maintenance to keep a boat landing functional because we got heaving, we got ice, we got all that kind of stuff. So I get that, but it's nice to be able to just kind of go everywhere. You don't have to worry about what county you're in. You just go launch your boat and go fishing. You know.
Right.
I gotta know what that crappie. Where was that fish?
So I caught that fish in 20 feet of water on a Strike King red eye shad.
That's virtually like.
Well, it's a lot
something
like
similar to
that.
this.
I didn't bring one in.
Well,
It's
you
a lot
got
like
something
that.
like this one, yeah.
But so a Strike King red eye shad is about that big.
Yeah, it's
And
about
then-
2 inches, right?
Yeah. That fish his mouth was big enough. It had both sets of hooks in both corners of its mouth. It hit it right
Oh,
from
yeah,
the side,
there it is.
and it had both hooks in both sets. I mean, it was the biggest crappie I've ever seen. I don't know how that is from a, down there standpoint. I mean, maybe that's just normal.
That's a black crappie, ain't it?
Yeah, but and you could tell the water's so cold. That's why it doesn't have a lot of its color and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it was just a giant. I mean, its shoulders were like 2 inches wide. I mean, it was
Dang.
just a giant.
That's awesome.
I thought it was a bass when I hooked it and was bringing it in because its mouth came up and I was like, oh, it's small. I thought it was like a 1 pound bass or a 2 pound bass. I'm bringing it in. I'm like, it's a freaking crappie.
That's nuts.
It's a monstrous fish.
So that was pretty cool, but it's still swimming, so that's cool. I
That's-
thought about getting him on. I'm like, nah, it's got to be at least like 2.5,
What was it, 2.3?
2.4.
Oh, jeez.
It's got to be like 2.5,
Cutting
right?
hairs. You're cutting hairs. Well, I mean, really. I just put one crappie on the wall would be kind of weird.
It would be.
Maybe a stringer of a crappies like that would be
I
kind of
think
cool.
I think the record on there is like 4 pounds.
That's nuts.
That's
Huh.
why I was like, it's not. I mean, it's like barely half. It's a little over half.
I'd
of
say,
that.
for a Wisconsinite, that's a pretty big fish.
Well, that's a giant crappie.
That's a giant
Yeah, but you
fish.
didn't
I mean,
even
that
catch
fi-
it in Wisconsin.
That fish
Yeah.
eats crappie around here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would have gotten
crazy.
him out and been like, guys, I traveled the country to
Looking
catch
for
this
this.
fish.
Yeah.
So-
Well, that's like.
But that's part of the problem with tournament fishing as a whole. You get so dialed in into what you're trying to accomplish that sometimes it's hard to like have fun with what's happening,
Right.
right? Like it's almost a challenge to even take a picture
Yep.
because
Right.
it's not what you're there for. It's not like if you read the comments on that when I posted on Facebook, wrong species, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, yep, I totally get that, but still, it's a freak.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Right.
a big fish.
But it's hard. It's a mindset thing. Like it's really, really hard. Like even for me to take a picture with the bait in a fish's mouth is difficult from a tournament standpoint because I don't want to tell everybody that stuff, right?
But you also said bass fishermen are more.
Which is why I've got stuff sitting on the table.
I
Because
understand.
even that was a struggle for me. I'm like, God, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna.
He's what, 12 hours away from our state? Further than that?
Yeah,
How many hours away
Right.
was it?
It was like 12, 13.
And he still can't talk about the bait.
It's just not ingrained in my system. It's so hard for me to do.
Because there's so many of us that are going to go down there this weekend.
You know, it's
fish
not-
these exact
I mean,
lures.
that was my plan for the weekend. I know you guys can go to the Bassmaster. I'm going to Gunnersville.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's not the spot thing. Like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It just is what it is. I don't know if it's just fishing and it's just part of what fishing is. You know, the whole fishtails thing, right? Like,
yeah.
you know, fishermen never tell the truth kind of deal. That
Right.
type of
Right,
stuff. You know,
right.
and I don't know.
But
it's tough for
the
me.
flip side of that, though, you have a business that sells this
I know.
stuff, so you need to talk about it.
It's on the table, and it's actually not all the right colors, but it's on the
It's
table.
on the table. You just have to look very closely. We're
No,
not gonna name
we'll
them.
talk about that in a minute. No,
But-
so I mean, you know, back to the tournament layout piece. You know, the three largest divisions being from Wisconsin.
Yep.
The Wisconsin guys that fished Wisconsin was very well represented. I think there was 6 or 8 teams that cashed checks that were from Wisconsin. All the 30.
Oh,
I
phenomenal.
think there's 40 teams cashed checks. I think there was 8 or 10 of them that were from Wisconsin. So we've got a lot of good sticks here. I think that part of the weather played into, you know, Wisconsinites as
I was
a
going
whole.
to say favoritism towards the
Just
colder
because
states.
of the fact that we can handle the cold even though it sucked. I mean, at least
Right.
we deal with it, right? It wasn't like we went from somewhere that was 60 down to this 20 stuff. It was
Right.
1 degree here when I left or whatever, right?
Yep.
Then I think we're just more adapt to finesse fishing,
Right.
right? So what I mean by that is down south, spinning reels are like they make jokes about people that use spinning reels. Like if you listen to like the Ike show, Ike Live, like they'll rip on guys like, well, I'm sure he was throwing a spinning reel. Like they rip on guys
Oh,
who use
really?
spinning reels. Well,
I'd be ripped on hardcore.
well,
then.
no, but some of this finesse stuff you have to fish with spinning reels
Right.
just
Yep.
for tactics and that kind of thing. So I think the finesse side of the way northern guys typically tend to fish, kind of geared towards some of the success some of the teams had. I'm not saying they're all throwing spinning reels. We were for a lot of the time,
Yep.
for a couple of the tactics, but. I do think that being up north, dealing with colder water, you know, if you fish the bay, you fish some of these areas, I mean, you're dealing with 50-degree water for a lot. You know,
Right.
this is kind of what we deal with. So I definitely think that helped.
So
Yep.
what was your biggest fish of day? Let's just say day one.
Big fish day 1 was 9 pounds 4 ounces.
Wow.
I did not catch it. My partner Mike caught it. I don't know if Zach's got a picture of
Is
it.
that
This,
it right
this guy
there?
right here.
Yeah, it's not on there yet, but it is an absolute toad.
It's on that one.
The picture doesn't do it justice. There it is. That picture does not do that fish justice. That fish was an absolute tank. I mean, it was his. Mike's been fishing for a really long time. That was the largest bass he's ever caught. I mean, it was a 2-hander. It was an absolute freak. So
That is an absolute unit, is what you
freak,
call that fish.
freak real quick story on that fish. So he was actually throwing this Kamuki Smartfish. Now this is the 2.5-inch version. He was throwing the 3-inch version. This comes in a 2.5, a 3, a 4, and then they also have the Kamuki Smart Craw, which we'll have all of these in here. The cool thing about this bait is it's a lot like a lipless crankbait, but it's only got 1 hook on the back. So I don't know if you can see that or not here, but it's only got 1 hook, so you can drag this on the bottom. You can snap jig it. You can
Oh,
you can
jeez.
fish it a lot like a jig. You can fish it a lot like
There
a
you wanna get
jig,
it.
Yep.
but
Yeah,
it's
right
got
there.
the vibration. It's got the same vibration as a lipless crankbait. So what we were doing a lot down with these fish is we were dragging a lot because it was so cold. We really slowed everything down to the point where it was like at a crawl.
Right.
That's part of that finesse thing, right? And what this allowed us to do is, you know, you're dragging it on the bottom, but you're not getting hooked up all the time. And,
'Cause it only the
what's
single
cool
hook.
is if you see it, it's got the weight. It's got
Yep.
the weight right there on the nose of the bait, and then the lure itself is hollow.
Right.
Right? There's like one little BB in there. It doesn't make a lot of noise, but when it hit bottom, it literally stands on its nose like that.
Yep.
Like a stand-up jig. So it was an awesome presentation. We didn't catch a lot of fish on that in the tournament, but the 9-pounder did come on that.
And just for the
Um,
curious, what does one of those run
What
for
do
as
you
far
mean?
as cost?
I don't even know. Can you pull that up quick?
Yeah, I'll look.
We
it
do
up.
have the 2.5s on the website.
Sure.
The other ones aren't. We didn't know how good these things were until I fished them.
Sure.
So I know the rest of them are on order.
Okay.
Because
Because I know for a fact I want to fish that because
It's-
I'm a huge fan of the lipless cranks, and knowing that stands up the way that it does for
Yeah.
the spots that I fish in, I think that's going to be an absolute.
I think it's going to be really
beast.
popular, and nobody carries them.
Right.
I called on their website. They had like 7 or 8 different dealers in the state. Nobody had them. Like the dealers they had listed didn't even have them.
Right.
I don't think anybody actually stocks them.
Retail is $11.99
Okay.
on the 2.5 inch.
So they're not,
Right.
it's a pretty nice bait. The one thing I will say about that bait is you got to change out the hooks.
Sure.
The hooks are terrible.
They're VMC hooks.
They're terrible. You can't hook yourself with that hook.
Okay.
Huh.
So I think the bait itself is great, but the hooks are absolutely the worst hook I've ever seen. I'm actually surprised it's a VMC on there. Because they're terrible. You can't. I sat there and I pulled it down into my own thumb. I couldn't even get it to go into my thumb.
Wow.
So I ended up
Okay.
switching out, put a Gamakatsu on there. But
Right.
And it does have the different split ring on the top.
Oh,
of
the
it.
oval?
The oval.
The oval ring?
Yeah,
Yep.
it has the bigger one.
so that's a great bait. That was what caught that 911. It was actually the blue crawl one that we caught the fish on.
Yep. And
But that's going to be a killer. We're going to catch a lot of fish on that this year.
Yep. The 4 is $3 more, so it's $14.99 for the 4 inch.
But that's going to be a good one. The other one we were
That'd be awesome.
throwing.
But would you fish this more than just when weather's cold like
Oh yeah,
this?
that's the great thing with that bait is you can snap it. You could reel it in, steady retrieve. You can do whatever you want with it. But without having that second hook, see a lot of lipless baits all got that second hook on the front.
Right. The snag.
So
up.
if you're trying to rip it through weeds, or you've always got something else to catch on it.
Mhm.
Or
Right.
99% of your fish you catch them on the back hook anyways.
Right.
So you're typically okay. I
I'm
do think that's
I'm
got a
excited.
lot. It doesn't have a lot of noise to it. So if you're fishing real dirty water or something, you want more of a vibration or a rattle, this is definitely not the bait for that. But it's definitely something to add to the arsenal for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that looks awesome.
So the other lipless one we fished a lot was the Jackal disc knocker. The disc knocker. I'm serious. So here's my thing with this bait is you can see in there it's got one big disc ball bearing.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
So if you look at all lipless baits, and I'm not saying this is better than anyone, but it's different. It's got a completely different sound in the water to it than say the Rapala version or the red eye shad. Or
Yep.
they've all got different sounds, and I think that sometimes that can just be a little key is trying to key in on something different. Like
Right.
lipless crankbaits down south aren't a big surprise. Like I bet you 9 out of 10 boats had a red lipless crankbait tied on.
Right.
That's like the thing down there. Everyone's throwing red lipless crankbaits. But I think the difference with that is it had a little bit different vibration, a little different sound. Or when that fish, I mean, think about it. There's everybody down there bass fishes.
Yep.
Like that's it. They bass fish and crappie fish. So I think that if they hear 30 of those a day, right? They're just like a deer. They just get accustomed to stuff.
Yep.
Well, all of a sudden something comes through and it's got a completely different sound to it than something else. Where maybe that fish might even have been hooked. Those noisy baits. He'd just be like, "What? No, I don't like
Yeah,
that."
not playing that game again. Well, it'd be like the jig and wrap.
Right.
Per se, everybody throws a jig and wrap down there, and sometimes we get a lot of comments on this one here. Put that lure away. I think he was talking about this one. Steve says they're terrible. Ha 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 ha.
I don't wonder if I'm assuming he was talking about the hooks.
Oh, it must have been.
I don't
Or he
know.
was just being like Larry and saying like hide those
I don't
baits
think many
'cause they're
people
not
know
good.
about that bait.
Tony says the Jacko lipless is the best lipless out there. That tungsten nose is killer. So
Yeah,
the
it's-
tungsten is the tungsten
No,
nose.
the tungsten nose on here because it forces the bait to ride more nose down in the water.
Gotcha.
So that's what he's referring to there. But that was awesome. And then the third tactic we were using where I did not go down there to throw Kitex because you're supposed to go down south and be able to throw big baits and big hook sets and all that kind of stuff, but it just didn't come into play. So we were throwing the 3.8-inch Kitex, the swing impact fats. Smallmouth Magic was actually the best color, which is the guys that fish up here. This is our number one seller, anyways.
Right.
But we tried the 2.8s, we tried the 3.3s. It just the 3.8s was the best size to match. If they guys wonder, what's the difference between a 2.8 and a 3.3 and a 3.8? Well, those fish it's amazing how they key in on the size of the bait, the shad that they're eating.
Right.
And this was the exact size of the shad they were eating. I mean,
Right.
I tried throwing the 2.8s, couldn't get bit. I tried throwing the 3.3s, couldn't get bit. You started throwing these, and we weren't getting bit a lot, but we'd at least get
You
some
were getting
bites.
some fish to hook up.
And again, we were just slow rolling them as tight to the bottom as you could get.
Right.
Again, it wasn't, the hook sets, you go down there like bass, big hook sets, all that kind of stuff, right? And it was just this soft, mushy feel. That's all you'd get.
They were just
You could
sucking it in and just.
It was thick. They were almost just mouthing it like I really want to eat you, but
Right.
That's really all it was. You
Right.
know, and it was so cold that they wouldn't even really fight that much. So it was.
I think you have a visitor there.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll tell you what this is about when I get back on here. Hold on.
Well, Brian was back in studio. Now I'm Garth again, dude. I'm left.
We're all alone.
Now watch. The viewers are just gonna start plummeting.
And
We're up
Brian's
to 20. Yeah.
Well, anyways, thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next time, Wednesday, 10 a.m.
But, Zach, this is a real good time. Let's recap what we got going on here.
Definitely.
So, Wednesday, we have Miles Warwick with Sportco, I believe it is.
Yep.
He's going to be in here talking Shawano and Jackal and all those other fishing companies. So, that'll be a good, fun, exciting one. And then we leave Friday.
We leave Friday.
Bam! I can't wait. I'm pretty stoked.
I'm stoked.
I'm bummer to miss my family, but I can't wait to go to. So, we're going down to Knoxville, Tennessee. And we're going to check out the Bassmaster Classic.
I was told that we need to sneak away from everything for just like an hour or two and go check out Gatlinburg. And I've heard of Gatlinburg and how beautiful it is, and I think we need to take a drive over there if the weather cooperates.
All right.
I'm just saying, you won't regret it.
So that's cool. So that's coming up. So reminder that Friday and Monday, there probably will not be a show.
Right.
There won't be a TRS live. There'll
Right.
be live Facebook events, but
We could go live Facebook from the airport bar.
yeah. Yeah.
That would be fun.
So, unfortunately, yeah, just we're not hauling all the camera equipment around with us. We will be taking a lot of pictures and vlogging, like we said, the trip. Now, we're flying, so have you ever vlogged in the airport before?
No, I haven't.
We're going to figure it out.
I don't know. We'll find out
It's
what
gonna
happens.
be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a cool time.
So, yeah. So, anyways, Brian's dealing with some they had some issues over the weekend as well. They had one of their businesses, the Yeo Goat in
Yield
Oshkosh.
goat, yeah.
With all the recent snow and all the rains and everything like that, the roof collapsed on that business. So
My heart sank when I saw that because at first I was like, oh, a roof collapse. And I was like, oh, that looks really familiar. And then I
Yeah.
scrolled up a quarter of an inch and
Yeah.
it said where it was. And I go,
that's
Oh,
man.
man.
That's a bummerville. So now, dude, we dropped down to 14. If it starts climbing back up, I'm never going on the show again. I will literally walk away from TRS Live.
Well, what's going on? What I
he's
miss?
walking away.
Oh, dude, it's climbing back
It went
up.
right back up. You left. It went 2, and then right after, like, you really
It
left.
went down to
it
14.
went down to 14.
I'm
You
sorry.
sat down. Boom.
Now we're up to 18. I'm it.
Sorry.
I'm never going to be on the show
So
again.
no, what I'm dealing with is I don't know the first Real Shop building.
Yeah,
in
yep.
Oshkosh.
We were just
We just-
informing people.
The roof collapsed
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
Thank God nobody was there.
Right.
Carolyn, the lady that runs the store for us, she was showing up to open the store and noticed what's going on here, whatever. I mean, it's gone. So snow, I don't know exactly the cause of it yet, but that's the insurance guy. I was trying to deal with that. So
Yeah.
apologize for having to step out, but that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
little
yeah,
bit.
you gotta handle business.
Again, I'm just really happy
Nobody was in
nobody
there.
was in there. Because
Yeah, amen.
if anybody was in there, it wouldn't have been good. I mean-
like the whole sales floor,
Gone.
that's where it collapsed on.
Gone. Like the middle of the building's gone.
That's nuts.
I don't know. It's not good.
Was there a pile of snow on top of that place? It's a pretty steep roof.
It was. I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. It's bad.
So fishing.
Yes, let's go back to fishing. Dear
Fishing
God.
for largies down in
Holy
Gunnersville.
Yeah,
So
let's
anyway.
let's go back. He's gonna cry.
God. Well, it's just, you gotta. I mean, there's a few of us here that spent a lot of time in that building. Myself,
Yeah,
Right.
Justin, Mark,
yes,
Rick.
Sentimental value.
This whole place started was in that building.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, didn't work out for us to stay there, but that's where it all started.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it was kind of that. You said sentimental thing. I mean, it was kind of nice that
Yep.
I always kind of wondered, maybe end up back in Oshkosh someday. I don't know,
Right.
whatever. But
Definitely get a lot of requests for it.
right, not that we'd go back to that spot.
No,
I wouldn't go back
We
to that
moved
spot,
to a
but
better location.
but it is what it is. I mean, this
Right.
business has been evolving a lot over the last 9-10 years, and
Started in
Now
the
that-
log cabin there.
now that building is not. They won't even let it.
Right.
We called, the fire department was there yesterday. We roped it all off because we had to get all the utilities turned off, get the water shut off,
Right.
electrics, all that stuff. I mean, so they won't even let us in there until the structural engineer needs to look at it and give us the green light to even go in.
I was gonna say, what's he
Right.
gonna say? building collapsed.
Well, no, but they're worried about the rest of the walls and the rest of the
right. There's no support.
all that stuff. So.
Well, speaking of that kind of stuff, though, we went up to Eagle River, Saturday to go snowmobiling, and we made it to Three Lakes, and they had 2 buildings burned down in Three Lakes within a week of each other.
Burned down
to the ground.
Yikes.
With no idea of what caused both. They're right across the street from each other. They had the Oneida. It was like the big. I don't know. Well, you go up there snowmobiling, right? At all, Brian?
Oh yeah, a lot.
So in Three Lakes there was that Oneida, whatever the big. It was like an inn, like a restaurant and hotel type place. Place completely burned to the ground. We went and checked that out. It was not pretty. And then right across the street was the old restaurant downtown that burned right out. So
wow.
It's been a bad week. I've seen a lot on the news about roof collapses in places, especially with all the wet snow, and then it rains, and then that gets heavy.
Well, if they get the rain up north, they're talking about getting this week.
Right.
It's gonna get worse.
Oh yeah.
Because if the guys that had 2 feet of snow on their roofs and all that rain soaks into all that, the weight's gonna double, and it's not gonna be pretty.
The last 2 weekends on roofs, it's getting annoying.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Not at all.
The bad part is, like, you move the snow, all that snow off your roof.
Yep.
And then you got to move it again because now it's close to the foundations, and the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to start leaking through your basement walls.
Right. Correct.
So we're literally every weekend is spent moving snow in some fashion.
Right.
It's
I'm about to go till up my yard with my snowblower because I think my foundation's pretty leaky. Now, yesterday there was a lot of melt yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't have a drop of water downstairs, and
I
counted my blessings because last year.
Yep.
But
yeah, you gotta get it away from the foundation. That's where
Yep.
it's all gonna go. It has no place to go. But anyways, so the tournament, all in all, let's recap it. You finished day 1 in 8th place.
Yep.
Then you go into day.
Yep.
Temperature
day 2,
change, water depth change.
We had thunderstorms, lightning, and rain all day on day 2. And we're in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, and when it rumbles, and it echoes. It was really kind of crazy.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of fishing in lightning storms, but it didn't lightning a lot, but enough when you're holding the graphite rod. It's like, this isn't
surprised
fun.
they didn't call it.
No, they typically don't.
Okay.
You got to nut up and go do it.
Right, all or nothing.
So it's again, and then the water level dropped a foot.
Right.
Which was bad. So we got to our number 1 spot, and there was a third of the fish there was before. I mean, it was a real grind to get bites there. And then we just kind of ran around and tried all those spots we found in practice that we thought they might move to, and they weren't anywhere. And we just kept grinding all day. We ended up with 4 over 5 on second day,
Oof.
which sucks. And you can't, in a 10-fish limit tournament, you got to come in with 10 typically. We were the only team in the top 17, I think, that didn't have 10.
Really? Yeah. You had big fish then.
So our average was good. I mean, obviously that 9-pounder we caught day 1 helps tremendously, but that's fishing. I mean, if you follow tournaments, if you don't get a couple big ones, you can't compete anyway.
Yeah, but what was biggest overall?
No, 10-5.
Holy shnikes.
So, but yeah, so we ground out. We got 4 on the day 2. It was good enough for 13th overall, but 13th out of 316 was. I'm happy with it. I mean, our practice wasn't great. I thought we had a good game plan. I didn't think we had a great game plan. Being the first tournament that I've ever fished down there, I was pretty happy with coming in 13th. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, top 10 would have been nice, but I'll take top 15.
There you guys are right there with your.
Got the picture up, and hey, the cool thing is you got 13th, but you also took home some cash.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like the best part.
Yeah, we 13th, and we had the second biggest fish on day 1. So
I saw that. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, no, it was fun. It was a really good time. Caught a bunch of fish, not a lot of fish. I mean, some guys are catching more quantities.
Right.
But
so now I would relate that discussion to the fact that you're a fan of the MLF. You didn't even hit your limit, and you still placed very well for your league. So
if it would have been a numbers tournament, we'd probably have gotten destroyed.
Right.
By these guys that are catching 30, 40 fish a day.
Yep.
But on the flip side, I think that we would have changed our game plan mentally, knowing we don't have enough numbers to compete. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that some of that would have came into play if we were fishing more of an MLF format, but we weren't, so you'd have fished it differently.
Did any of these guys open up and say what they were throwing to catch all those fish?
No.
You didn't have an inkling at all? That's crazy.
Here's the difference, and this is why with the Wisco series that when we talked to Kyle and Brett right away about if we're going to film it, we're going to interview these guys. If guys aren't willing to talk to help sell tackle, I'm not really interested in sponsoring it.
Right.
Right. Because that's the whole name of the game. And and the local guys are very tight-lipped, and that's the same thing you're fishing with, because these guys that are doing this, they do it as a hobby.
Yep.
They don't want to give up their stuff. They're not getting paid by these companies, all that kind of stuff. So it's just they're more naturally tight-lipped with what they're doing, and whatever, that's their deal. I don't care. We're like when we go down to the Classic this weekend. These guys are just blah. I mean, they're going to tell you everything.
Right.
Well, most of the guys got cameras everywhere anyways, so there's nothing to hide.
Right.
Like you can see what they're doing. If they're all, they're just going to get called out for lying to you. So, I think that that's the big difference between fishing the local stuff and then making that jump. Is you got to become a marketer.
Yep.
They're marketers more than they're fishermen almost at times.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you
think about it.
They're marketers
just
that
as
catch
much
fish.
as their jerseys, you're a walking billboard at that point.
Oh, for sure. And their
for
boats
those
are.
brands.
Wait till you see their boats. Their boats are Their boats are billboards. Everything's just logoed everywhere.
Yep.
I can't wait. I'm
excited for it.
I'm excited to just first of all get the heck out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's probably, like I said earlier, I'm really gonna miss my wife. Like she's totally bummed that I'm leaving, but like on the flip side, I just can't.
Hey,
wait.
she was invited.
I know, but I just the thing about it is we looked earlier last week and we looked at the weather. And it's supposed to be upper 50s or and then get into 60s, and then we roll in. There's a cold front pushing
Again?
in. Yeah, and it's supposed to drop. No, it's not supposed to be that bad, like 50 degrees.
Yeah, but that's better than 30.
Yeah, but I was hoping we go down there and be like 65,
Right.
like it is. Like literally.
So there's another cold front here.
Unless it's changed.
I swear to God.
Literally, the day
changed.
we fly in, it was gonna drop like 10 degrees.
Oh, I was hoping it
It
was gonna be
freaking
nice
rained.
road.
And then it was rain all weekend.
Right.
So
But you guys will see. You'll get a good taste for what the Super Bowl of bass fishing is.
Yep.
Right. I'm pretty excited to be able to go down there and see that. And
I'm excited to see it from our standpoint, not only to film a little bit, but also just to see the way that they're operating their
for
media,
sure.
their sanctioned media, so we have an idea of how we should operate for Wisco bass.
No, and that's why we're going. So I think it's gonna be awesome. You guys will love it. It's a big show.
Well, and if there's anything anybody wants us to see, make sure they comment on here
For
so
sure.
Definitely.
we can try to do our best. I mean, it's going to be for both of us, like how it was for you at ATA, it was kind of mind-blowing. Now it's going to be that way for a majority of us. It's going to be like our heads are going to be spinning because where do you go? How do you, what's the next step in the world? But
And there's some cool new stuff getting unveiled there from what I've been told. Some new boats even. That's where these bass companies bring all this stuff out is there at the Classic. So that'll be pretty exciting.
So, Tony, we had mentioned a couple times, tell your buddy that March 18th is when the gun room should be ready to go.
Yeah, they're bringing them out Sunday, right?
Yep. So this weekend, I think I don't know if they're closing their range or what's the
I think they're doing it after we close on Sunday.
Yep. So
they're bringing all the guns out Sunday night.
So if the stars stay aligned,
right? Assuming everything stays where it's
March
supposed to.
18th is going to be. We're not going to make it an official opening. We're going to make sure all the computers are working, but you'll be able to come in and see all the guns. So we appreciate you going to bat for us, but. Yeah, March 18th, so next Monday.
I'm excited. I was just up there this morning because obviously I was gone for the week. It looks awesome. I mean, Steve and Mark have been doing a great job up there. I mean, it looks absolutely outstanding. It really does.
Just don't look at the weather.
Oh, it's bad, huh?
Well,
really?
Here's the forecast.
Can I not go? I'm just kidding.
So it's 60 degrees today.
Of course.
60 degrees tomorrow. 67, 70. Friday we get there 61, which is like I'm not whining.
61's good.
Yeah, 60.
That's better than what we've had.
50
here.
on Saturday.
High of 50.
High of 50, low of 33.
Oh boy.
54 on Sunday and Monday 53, and then Tuesday, the day we leave, it's supposed to get back to 60.
We're bringing Wisconsin with us.
But I don't even feel bad for me about those guys fishing. Though they're going to be dealing with that. I mean, that's going to be talked about a lot. That cold front's going to change. I mean, those guys are going to have their 2-3 days of practice,
right?
And it's going to be nice and warm and sunny. And then I don't know what it is about fishing tournaments, but you guys I'm telling you, it's going to be nasty all the time.
Gonna be crap.
It just does it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the big guy telling us that we shouldn't have fishing tournaments or something. I don't know.
Yep. Right.
But it's just without fail. That tournament comes and you're going to have wind, cold, rain. It's just part of the deal.
Every time.
Well, Stryker was here on Wednesday, I think. What day did he come? Yeah, Wednesday, I think, last week. They had a Stryker rep in here.
Okay.
And I was telling him, Justin, like, we need to carry – we already have hook, like, rain-style gear. We're going to need to get some other stuff, some Stryker in here because –
Well, the nice stuff with Strikers, it's also warm.
Right.
Like the hook rain gear is awesome. That's what I use. It's awesome stuff, but it's not – it's a wind protection. It's It's a rain protection, but it's not a warm. It doesn't add warmth.
I mean, you hope the time you're using it, you don't have to worry about it being warm at the same time.
Well, but
token.
spring.
But a lot of times it happens that way.
Think about it. As soon as the Fox River and De Pere opens, there's gonna be snow on the ground still.
Oh yeah.
Guys are gonna be out fishing. It's gonna be cold,
Cold.
really cold. Now if it's only a high of 40 and the water temp's 38 or 40,
Right.
it's cold.
Yep.
I mean, you're sitting on top of ice.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's cold.
Right.
So I think the guys that bought striker suits over the winter, I guarantee they're using them in the spring fishing.
I
Right.
do.
The
I
guys
use mine.
the guys that don't should really consider it.
Right.
'Cause it's just nice to be able to be warm.
I'll vouch for the striker again. I didn't ice fish this weekend, but I went snowmobiling Saturday, and that's what I wore instead of my regular snowmobile gear. I just wanted to see what it would be like, and I will tell you, I mean, it was also pretty warm. It got up to like 35 up there, but it was the best. That was the most comfortable I've ever been riding.
Even over a snowmobile jacket.
Like I didn't have over a snowmobile
I mean, but
jacket,
you snowmobiled a lot.
Oh yeah.
And snowmobile jackets as a whole are like the warmest jackets ever
Yeah,
made. Like I don't know why guys just don't wear them all the time because they're so
Yep.
warm.
Yep. I usually
Are they
wear,
heavy though compared to like a striker coat?
Yeah,
I would
think so.
I would say yes because they've got a harder material that the outer layer is
right.
made out
more
of.
of a hardcore
But
shell
like
to
I was
protect the
more
wind.
comfortable and more flexible in my striker
Yeah.
suit than I would have been in my Yamaha gear.
Yep.
I-
Yeah, that's
I looked a little funny because I'm just a big camouflage dude.
I was
rolling
gonna
down the
say
trail, but
camouflaging on your. You
Yeah.
must have looked all redneck. Hey,
come
whatever.
on.
I don't know, man. With my purple helmet and a bunch of camouflage going on,
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
what was going on, but I was having fun. So
That's good.
So you put quite a few miles on then, or what?
I don't know. We were out there for 6 hours. A lot of slow, back of the woods. Just a lot of trail riding.
Right.
But it was fun to get out there, especially out on the lake. I got to test drive probably the stupidest wheel I'll ever touch in my life.
Like as in stupid fast.
Stupid fast.
Yeah.
Imagine 212 horsepower to a sled.
Well, thanks.
With a turbo, yeah, that was a little spooky. The first rip I took on it, I gave her like half throttle and let the turbo spool up and got it across. Like, all right, that was nice. Turned around and grabbed the brakes, preloaded, dumped it full, and I mean, I scared myself. By the time I hit 90 in like 4 seconds, and then I hit an ice shove, like a smooth ice shove, and I probably traveled about maybe 10, 20 without anything below me, in midair, came down, nice suspension. It's got like a dual Fox floats on both ends. Thing is just nasty. I got back and I looked at my dad. I'm like, "Hey, you see that?" And he goes, "You need to be careful." I'm like, "What do you mean? That was fun."
You need to be careful. You need to be safe.
Be
This is
safe.
what he said.
Be safe.
Come on.
He
Come on.
must not watch the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not a
right.
fan. Well,
But-
so, oh man, yeah, it's just gonna be a crazy week. So you got back now. Everything's going on up front in the store. It's busy as heck up there.
Yep.
Again, we've already informed people. We'll do it again that we apologize that there will be some construction coming up shortly. Now
We're doing it in phases.
Yep.
I mean, it's out of necessity, really. Like you can see now, if you're up there, if you come in the store, you get the gun counters pretty much done.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It looks
The-
awesome.
Oh, it's awesome. They're merchandising all the gun accessories and stuff, and then you can see where the new archery counter is being built.
Yep.
That's going to be awesome.
That's gonna be awesome.
But we can't move archery out of where it is now until that's done, and we can't
Right.
rip the walls down until the archery's moved. So
Yep.
it's just kind of
It's a process.
it's a process, and it is what it is. And 3 weeks are gonna go by, and it's all gonna be over. and
over with.
Right.
And,
Yep,
the dust is gonna settle, and it's gonna be virtually a new reel shot.
It's gonna be totally different. I mean, that counter looked. I told the guy this morning when I went up there and looked at it because they got all the lighting in now and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, if we did this again, we'd screw it up.
Yeah,
It looks that
It looks
good.
phenomenal.
It looks
Right?
so
Like it's
good.
one of those deals where if we tried to do this again, we'd probably screw it up.
Yep.
That's all. I'm pretty proud of that. It turned out awesome.
I mean, BJ is the man, the contractor, carpenter that we're using.
he's like a
I
magician
was
with a nail
setting up.
gun.
I was setting up all of those computers up front and watching him work while I was doing that, and I was like, "This dude's a one-man army.
He
Just
is.
running around with a saw, cutting everything, popping everything in. I mean, and half the stuff that he like eyeballed was like to a T perfection.
That's
I
unreal.
can't believe it. It was insane.
I feel bad that I don't know the name of his business, but I mean, if anybody is looking for any kind of remodeling type stuff, I know he doesn't probably have room anymore in 2019, but you need to look him up. I think he's out of Shiocton. He's a phenomenal guy.
He's a magician.
Literally.
Unreal.
He built that gun room. I can barely like nail something with a hammer.
Right.
This guy's holding walls up and all.
Right,
Anyways, Kyle wants to know, Brian. He said congrats, and then you can read the rest. Were you nervous on that bass?
Be honest, no. I've been fishing a really long time. I've netted a lot of big fish. I grew up, I cut my teeth netting salmon and trout, like 20, 30-pound big fish that are not tough to deal with in nets. I think it's the same thing as deer hunting. I don't get nervous anymore before the shot. hits and you did it,
then you're like,
then the adrenaline sets in, and this was the exact same thing.
Well, it's a concentration you got to have because you know that this. I mean, you don't want to lose that fish.
Well, as it came up, Mike was behind me. He couldn't see the fish.
Right.
Oh.
And he thought originally it was a sheephead. And he's fighting it, and I'm like, just take it easy. And then the fish came up and kind of flashed, and all I saw was the big black stripe. And I'm like, I thought it was 8 pounds, 7-8 pounds when I saw the flash.
Yep.
And I'm like, just keep it coming. And he's like, what is it? I'm like, it's like 4 or 5.
I don't get him jacked any more than he needs to.
It's
Right.
whatever. Not to say he would have freaked out, but why take the chance, right?
Yeah,
you just don't know.
Yep.
So we got in the net, and then we just lost our shit, started hugging each other and shit. It's one of those deals. So,
Right.
Do you have that other picture I sent you?
Yeah, he had it.
No, it was no, not that one. No, the one with the other guy in the TRS hoodie that I sent you.
I have it somewhere.
So anyway,
I'll find it.
There's a lot of big fish caught. I sent him a picture of Nick Rainier, caught a 7-pounder day one. I think he finished. I'm not exactly sure where he finished, but it was top 25-ish.
Weren't they talking about? Isn't that he's been on the show before? He's been messaging the store.
Yeah, we've talked to him a bunch of times on there.
Yeah.
No, I think he fishes with his cousin. They're good sticks, but
I think it's funny.
I just wanted to show it because he's got it.
Did you send that one over Facebook?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a link. Yeah, it's attachment unavailable. Is it from his
okay.
page?
I don't know.
I did.
Yeah.
Well,
notice
Nick,
that.
if you're still watching, send it to me or something.
I think it's funny though that like I was saying that Kyle messaged us because that day when we had Travis Manson on, Kyle had private messaged me and said we need to have a tournament.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, I'll mention it to Brian, and Brian like he saw the message. He's like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Well,
let's do it. I think it'd be awesome.
I like doing that stuff. It's fun.
I feel bad, but I'm a decent fisherman. Like I'm just an everyday type.
Any
of
given
fisherman.
day, dude.
I know, but
You
I'm
know what they
just
say
saying.
like football, any given Friday, any given Sunday.
Well,
right?
Kyle went to high school with Kyle, and one of my good buddies also knows Kyle, and they fish tournaments together. And I'm like, they were on Big Green, I think last year before my batch party in May. But I'm like, I just want to fish a tournament once, but I don't want to fish like one that's worth a lot of money with somebody.
Right.
Because I don't want to be that guy who's like snagging in the back and everything like that. But
it's fun, man. I tell you what, when you
I can net some fish. You can ask Josh Muthik. I can net the best of fish.
When you get into tournaments, it's really addicting. It really is. It's the fun thing is for competitive guys that don't get to play sports anymore, it's that itch. You get to scratch that competitive itch, and that's what it is, and it's awesome. So no, I mean I wasn't nervous. It was I don't know. It's just game time. You got to get it done, right?
Right.
That's my I don't know. I don't get nervous fishing anymore. I used to get all crazy about stuff.
You don't get the butterflies the day of the tournament.
The morning first takeoff a little bit. It used to be a lot. I used to be like
jacked
up,
up,
vomiting almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Not so much anymore. Now it's just business. It's
Right.
like we got to go get this done, type of deal. I'll tell you what, going into day 2 is always worse than day 1, especially if you got a shot at it.
Right.
Because now you're like, oh, God, this has got to work. I don't want to bomb. I don't want to be that guy, because typically half of the top of the field flip-flops.
Yep.
If you pounded them day 1, you don't typically do it again day 2 type of thing. And the guy who does wins, right? And
So is that the same
kudos
for
to
this
them.
guy? Did this guy lead both days?
No, I don't think he led both days, but he had pretty good weight both days.
Okay.
We ended up with just over 41 pounds. I think he had 51.
Oh, nice. You were right there.
Yeah, we were right there.
I mean, realistically, that's one fish.
Well, if we came in with 5 on day 2, which we didn't, but if we would have, and I don't like playing that if game.
Right.
That's never been my thing. We didn't do it, so who cares if we would have?
Yep.
Right.
But if we would have, we'd probably been a top 5 team if we would have had that 5th one.
How far out
but
of
we didn't.
10th place were you?
I don't even know. I think
Weight-wise, I mean, obviously I know you're 3
ounces,
places.
I have no
but
idea. Not a lot.
Shit, it was that close.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon me. I didn't realize.
but it's that thing, I mean, you can play the if game all day long, and that's why I don't play that game.
Right.
If we would, well, you know what, we didn't, so I'm not going to sit there and beat myself
You
up.
can't. It's over
We still
with.
beat 300 teams, right? 313 teams. I'm not going to whine and cry over not having that 5th one. I mean,
Right.
it is what it is. I mean, if we would have earned that fish, okay, great, but we didn't, so I'm not going to sit there and beat myself up over it.
Did you guys miss any bites?
A couple, but like I said, the bite was so soft for us, and I know guys that were catching 20, 30 fish a day. that wasn't all. We were getting 6 or 7 bites a day, which is scary because if you miss them, that costs you. But that real soft, just mouthing. I mean, if you mistake one rock or that bite for a rock or a tree branch or something, I mean, it's really easy to do.
Yep. Hook sets are free, right? Just everything that felt like weight, just rip into it.
Yeah, it's just our fish were not just, they weren't aggressive. They weren't going after our baits like that. I mean, I think a couple of them, okay, that was a good bite type of deal.
Yep.
But for the most part, it just wasn't.
Huh.
So, I don't know.
So it was a lot of finesse. You tried, like, day one, you tried some speed rolling, or not day one?
Well, practice we tried getting reaction bites, but I couldn't get them to go on anything. I tried the chatterbaits. I tried ripping the jackal here. I tried ripping the swim baits just to see if you could get them to go, but only way we could catch fish was crawling stuff.
Nice.
So, but again, that's why, like I said before about, that not fishing water that we really didn't want to fish. You got to fish your fish, right? I mean, the guys I know that caught them doing other things, going whatever, that wasn't working for me. So I just got to do your thing, and you got to do whatever's working for you. And that's what I think one of the best parts about tournament fishing is you got to fish your strengths. You got to fish what you know and what you understand, and you can't worry about everybody else. You just got to do your thing.
Right.
That's right.
So. And I think that for. If anybody ever watches this that is thinking about getting into tournaments, I think that's the biggest hurdle they've got to mentally get over. Is you've got to mentally be able to forget about everybody else, just fish the fish, right?
Yep.
And you see that a lot. Like, we made a long run. There wasn't a lot of guys that made long runs. There's a lot of guys that were fishing pretty close to each other, and you can't win tournaments like that. And I don't understand why those guys do that. I don't know if this is a comfort level thing or what it is, but when you've got a point and you got 6 boats fishing it, yeah, you might crack them there one day. Well, how many big fish are there to go to feed 5, 6 boats, right? So, I don't know. Getting over the fear of the unknown is a big deal with tournament fishing, right? Like we're sitting there day one, we got 25 pounds. Like, is that good? Is that not good? Everyone pull 40? I don't know, but I really don't care.
Right.
I know that I did the best I could do with what I had out there. I left it all on the table, so to speak. On day 2, I didn't know. I mean, I figured if the bite was the same as it was day 1 for most guys, we were going to finish 60th.
Yep.
But the bite was obviously off for a lot of people, and the big girls didn't seem to go as well day 2 as they did day 1. I think water temperature, again, water dropping by us definitely freaked them out. So, we had 15, 9, 8, I think, on day 2, and it was good enough for 13th with the total, and yippee.
Right.
So
are you fishing any other tournaments?
I don't have anything on the schedule right now. I was waiting for both my sons are big into baseball, so I was waiting for those tournament schedules to come through, and that's done now. So there's a couple of them I might go fish the Travis out east.
Oh, sweet.
Out in New York, and then we're gonna be running around at the Wisco Bass thing, making sure that goes off good this year. And
yeah, that's 2 months away.
Yeah, it's gonna happen
for
fast.
First tournament on Bagel.
Well, then I'm with the kids, running around over the country sounds great, but it's tough when you're missing that at home stuff, and I'm hoping that with the show here and filming, doing a lot more on the water stuff with Zach and you guys, and maybe more instructional stuff on the water that helps with the drive to fish,
Right.
So we're gonna try that for a year and see how it goes.
Nice.
But it's fun to get out and compete and know you're not as far off as you think you are competitive wise. So
right.
It's a lot of fishing in a short time.
It's really condensed.
Well. Yeah.
Right. I had sore muscle. I mean, you went from not fishing at all to
right.
It doesn't mean it's not like you forget how to cast, but muscles that you use that you don't use all the time, and there's this muscle in my shoulder. I gotta figure out how to strengthen that thing.
You got bass thumb?
Those fish were so big. It's kind of healed up a little bit now, but I didn't have bass thumb. I had like bass cup in my hand thing. Like they're so huge. Like normally you get it here.
Yeah.
But like you bury them in there. I was getting like in the palm of my hand.
What's the smallest fish you caught?
We caught some pound fish, £1.50.
Okay.
But most of them in the tournament were 4s, 5s, and then like 9. I mean, that 9 was like a 2-hander.
Right.
So it's fun.
Can't imagine that 4 to 5 pound bass almost like on a regular,
And I think it takes 30 pounds a day down there typically to compete.
So this is a championship. These guys don't.
All these guys qualified from 2018.
Yep.
So the top, I think, it's based on a percentage of the field, the size of the field for their circuits. So the top, whatever percentage is, get the opportunity to go fish this tournament.
Nice.
So the guys that will be fishing this year will be fishing the 2021.
Oh, okay.
And it's almost always on Gunnersville, I believe. So. But yeah, no, it was fun. Good time.
Sweet. Well, we're glad to have you back in the house.
Yeah, it's fun to be back here. It's
Bass Palm, Tim says.
Right. It was exciting to walk in this morning and go look at that gun counter and see how that's coming together. That's pretty awesome.
Yep, it's the real deal now. There's no
backing out anymore, right?
No, we're too far in. We're too far in, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a whole different customer experience than what most people are used to when they roll into the real shot. It is even now. I mean, looking at so ice is still out there, and ice is starting to, like, I can't believe how much ice is left. Like, there's hardly any.
Right.
You know, it's weird from where we started this season to where it is now. So again, like, we thank everybody, you know, in store, online, all that kind of stuff, supporting us. But now you start looking at the open water that's hitting the floor.
We don't even have most of the bass stuff out there yet.
No.
It's all in the warehouse.
It's coming.
At one point, so what we put our product on, we always call them a gondola for anybody that doesn't know exactly what that means. And, like, we had a plethora of them left over, and we were like, oh, man, what are we going to do with all these?
We had a whole store full.
Yeah.
Second store full.
Now we're at the point where we're like, we don't have enough.
I'm glad we actually thought about for a while they're trying to get rid of them.
Right. We were going to.
They've been sitting around, and then this whole thing happened.
It's
and,
just
I think we'll use them.
crazy. It's crazy.
So.
I mean, what was there sitting back here? 30 of those things? And every front and back.
Well, we're by ripping the walls out, doing what we're doing by shrinking the range. We're doubling the size of the store.
Yes.
Right.
And we're doubling the inventory that goes along with it. And I think that, you know, for the people that support us that are in here shopping all the time, I think it's once we get done with the assortment expansions in bass, in the guns, and all these things, I think it's going to really be a cool experience for everybody.
Yeah.
I see a lot of excitement on customers' faces when we go up there and talk to them. Or like when I was doing all the computer setup, we had a couple guys walk back there and just ask me some questions, and they were all hyped for it.
See, the worst thing for everybody that works here was me going to that tournament. Was when I heard the top 3 largest divisions of the circuit were from Wisconsin, there's no excuses anymore.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? There's no excuses that we can't destroy this bass thing. We got the largest 3 divisions in the country, and 2 of them are from almost like right here.
Wow.
So the guys are here. If we can't get the guys to come here, that's on us. Right? And I think the assortment, what we're working on, I think as long as they give us a shot, they're going to be pleasantly surprised. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, and that's the thing. So, you know, we always say it after every show, but just, you know, the Real Shot website, again, these guys are working hard to get the product on the website, on the floor, you know, available for you. So, again, especially with the bass, the walleye, and the Great Lakes stuff, we're diligently getting that stuff, taking pictures of it, information put on the website. So, again, we appreciate everybody's patience on that. And the same thing, too, on the floor side, we're working hard to get everything out on the floor. So
it looks like we got a lot of the new Great Lakes stuff out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's all out,
Nick's
but the
been
whole
working
wall
hard,
is
dude.
just
It's
awesome.
So, like, from anybody remembers, when you walk just past the bait cooler, that used to be all terminal tackle.
Yep.
That's all Great Lakes spoons, flashers. I don't know what the other terminology. But now it wraps, and it actually wraps around the back of the store where the used selection was. That's just continued Great Lakes.
It's crazy.
And
There's like 40 feet of flashers.
Yeah, I think it's going to jump the warehouse doors, and I think it's going to continue on where all the tackle boxes are until that wall comes off and everything like that. But
yeah, Tim wanted to know when the new bass stuff was hitting the floor. I don't know.
Daily.
I'm assuming. Well, I mean, it's going out now all the time. But I think it's all going to be out probably in the next couple of weeks. So I assume it'll all be out.
You know, per se, let's just say, you know, we had Tony in here with Omega tackle. Omega's in, and Omega I think is on the floor already.
Yep. And then also, speaking of Omega, Tony actually just reached out to me. He has a bunch of stuff for us for a giveaway.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
He's going to get that to us either today or tomorrow.
And then Dirty Jigs, his line of stuff came in. The Mega Bass USA, and Mega Bass Japan. Ty wouldn't let that not hit the floor.
Oh
fast.
no, it's going out as fast as we
can
get it out.
Rods. I know we just put a pile of St. Croix rods out. Reels. We're working with Russell on how to. We had a question earlier on Facebook. Do we spool? We definitely spool a line here, and now we have the capabilities to spool reels with wire,
lead core,
all that kind of stuff. So with that merger with Anglers, you know, or Real Shot Sheboygan now is what it's called, is that we do everything.
Yep.
right?
Well, I think,
Virtually everything.
And I understand the bass guys are jacked to get going.
Yep.
But we took a realistic look at what's next, right?
Right.
Like, well, let's get the guns done. I mean, I know guys are putting orders in on all this bass stuff, but we got a little bit of time, so we're trying to just ease our way through. I mean, what we're doing from a assortment growth standpoint is like a 5-year project for most companies, and we're doing it in like 3 months, 6 months.
Right.
So that's why there's a little bit of a delay getting stuff online, maybe stuff getting on the floor. I mean, we're adding like triple the size of the assortment. I mean, it's huge.
Yep. Yeah, there's Tony saying, the pictures, like I said, that's Nick. Nick's taking all the pictures for that. So we're working really hard to get that stuff out. So, again, we appreciate everybody, and we appreciate your patience as we go through this.
Yep.
It's only going to be, like we say, more beneficial for everybody. But so Wednesday now, let's talk about Wednesday. We have Miles Keller in here, or not Miles Keller. Warwick. Miles Keller is a hunter.
Yeah, I was going to say, you wish.
Yeah.
You wish we were having Miles Keller in here.
Miles Warwick, he's going to be in here talking to Shimano and Jackal and what's that one, Hayabusa or whatever that he carries.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he's a Jackal rep.
Yeah, he's a Jackal.
I'm going to have to see if he can give me some more of this.
Yeah.
So this disc knocker is unreal awesome.
It's legit.
It is. It's awesome.
So he's here Wednesday, so you can talk to him Wednesday. You guys will be sitting there talking bass. Well,
the thing with Miles is it'll be a fun show because
he's going to have some jokes.
He's a character, man. Miles is a character.
Nine-toed Miles. It's got 2 thumbs and 9 toes. He goes, this guy. So, but yeah, he's a real good guy. He's a local guy as well, so we're excited for that. Then, like we said, Friday and Monday, there probably will not be a TRS live, but then we'll be ready to rock on Wednesday. Now, we are going to go live on social media, but it just won't be in this format. So, unfortunately, you'll have to.
Yeah, we'll be at the airport.
Yeah, you'll have to find your fixes on the past episodes, which are on Facebook, YouTube. You can listen to them on Podbeam. What's all the other
TRSOutdoors.com has them all right there, right on the main page.
Bam, there it is. That's why I rely on Zach. And then we'll be back Wednesday. I don't know what we got going on for next week, but we got quite a few. There's some raffles coming up. There's some.
How many more days left on the Shimano?
Yeah,
Reel?
So that's getting down there. I want to say we're probably 10 or 11. Yeah,
10 days.
Wow.
It's got to be over 10 grand now, or 10,000 people that have been on there.
It kind of leveled off, so we're going to push her a little harder this next week and a half and see if we can't get a few more hits on there, but I think it's at
so Zach's
9,400.
You're on the TRS Outdoors website right now.
Yeah, it's at 93.54. 10 days left.
10 days left.
10 days.
So that's a Stratic CI4 2500.
And it's so easy. I don't know why everybody. Can you put that on here?
Yeah, I've already linked it in the beginning,
okay.
So definitely. Well,
it's just so easy to sign up. It doesn't cost you anything, so why wouldn't you do it?
And it barely takes any time. We literally condensed it for you so that you don't. All you have to do is click a couple buttons and you're done.
Yep.
Yeah, it's easy. It doesn't get any easier than that.
So cool.
Very cool.
So anyways, we'll be back here Wednesday, and we'll be talking bass fishing again. Now that Brian's in the house, I can't talk hunting until hunting seasons. I had my.
I know. I'm gone for a week.
I had my fix.
Turkey. It's okay.
Turkey and bows.
Oh, sounded like it was good shows. I listened to them on the drive. It was
Friday.
good.
I thought Friday went awesome. Those two guys. We had Brian Lovett and Greg Shermo.
How did the call thing go?
Great. Friday, I thought it went really well. Zach and I were impressed by all the type of calls that came in here.
Oh, cool.
197 calls were in the store.
Wow.
And then I spoke with Mark when I first got in, and he said there was probably, when he was here for a little bit, he said there was like 5 or 7 people that were walking around perusing the turkey
They're going to do
calls.
it here again next year.
Good.
I already talked to Carl this morning. They're going to do that again next year, and I think we're going to try to wrap that into a big spring event.
Yeah, we most definitely
all
should.
of it for sure.
Well, and I think part of what was missing from that, due to what the circumstances they had, is there's a calling competition that coincides with that. So due to them having to reschedule, they weren't able.
Yeah, next year will be bigger and better, and they'll have the whole year to advertise.
So if you weren't annoyed shopping at the Real Shot with all the turkey calls this weekend or last weekend,
I think
till
it's
next
awesome.
year.
I think it's awesome.
Well, I love it. Was fun.
I had fun learning how to use all this stuff because besides annoying my parents as a kid, I never turkey hunted, so they used to give me calls for toys.
And it was cool. I got to help judge it. That was pretty neat. So I got to lend some input in there, and there's so many calls out there that were.
Somebody values your opinion like that, huh?
Yeah. I was a little shook by that.
You're kind of a big deal, aren't you?
Nice.
So my favorite thing, I'm not gonna lie, was like I feel like you were a little out of your element doing it, just a little bit, because you were walking around a little aimlessly, and you kind of looked like you kept looking around like.
Well,
he was trying to sign autographs.
No, part of it was like, Well, honestly, yeah. So part of it was like, I'm a decent turkey caller. I wouldn't say I'm an amazing turkey caller, but it's like some of these calls I didn't, how valued was my opinion.
Right.
And I think it was as of like a introductory. But I was listening to some other guys calling. They didn't sound like they were great turkey callers either. So.
Right.
But it was fun. But like, yeah, the wing bone had no clue. The snuff or the tube call, like I picked it up and I figured it out quick, but it's not like I was, professional on it.
Right.
The slate, the mouth, some of those box calls, I can make calls and just enough to kill a bunch of turkeys. But
I think we should try to stream that next year too.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Definitely.
Why not?
Yeah, especially if we could have like a. I was talking to one of the gentlemen that was here judging. And if we could do something now that we've got broadcasters and everything, that we could actually just follow somebody around while they talk us through, because he was educating me. He was listening to the show while we were live, while they were doing the thing, and he had approached me and said, "Hey, if this is your first year, come with me. Let me show you a bunch of stuff."
Oh, cool.
And we walked around, and I was like,
"We could make a show out of that. Hey, we just have a little broadcast set up, and somebody could just commentate on what's going on. That'd be cool."
Right.
I got a bunch of ideas you guys haven't even heard yet.
Yeah. Let's get it. Whose laugh was that?
You know how I get when I got 10, 12 hours sitting around?
I know.
I got all sorts of ideas.
I couldn't tell who made that noise.
That was great. It must be good ideas.
Yeah, it's time to wrap it up.
They are. I got a couple.
It's either good or bad. I can't tell.
Well, you guys normally don't like them right away, and then I got to push them for a while, and then I think eventually it's not that you like them, you just quit. You're like, whatever.
You just have to deal with it.
He's not backing down, so I'm just going to do it.
I always look at just remember he signs our paychecks.
Right?
He signs our paychecks.
They're not all that. They're not all
I
that bad.
know. We're just messing with you.
It's okay.
Dude, take that. That's your 60-second clip of that laugh. That's the highlight for Wednesday's show. Sounds like my 13-year-old right now is finally starting to crack.
Excited. I get excited about this media stuff. I think it's awesome.
It is fun. It is. We missed no new software.
Yeah, I know. I'm a techie, so I like new stuff. That's
it's a lot more fun. The room is a lot more entertaining when you're back in here. So let's wrap it up. Let's get on with our Monday.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks everybody for joining today.
Yep. Make sure to get outside, and if you do get outside, be safe. And we'll see everybody on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
And as always, remember,
Zach.
remember to
I didn't think it was that bad.
It was pretty bad.
Was it?
I heard it, and I didn't know who made the noise. I was like,
all
what
right,
was
well,
that?
great.
I thought it was
wasn't
you.
even a laugh.
I thought it was you.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Dude, wait till he replays it.
It's that creepy little.
Like I said, it sounded like your voice was cracking. It was beautiful.
Shoot.
But anyways,
finish it up.
As far as this video goes, remember, guys, like, comment, and share. It's right there at the bottom of your screen to remind you. Head on over to trsoutdoors.com. Get entered in that giveaway if you haven't. Head over to our Instagram at TRSOutdoors. Follow us. Even better, follow us through the giveaway. Get extra points for your entry. Head over to YouTube, The Real Shot. We're just slowly creeping up on 1,000 subscribers. We're over 900 now. So
we should give something away when we hit 1,000.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that'll be a good time.
Let's do it.
Totally
so, other than that, guys, remember, as always, for Matt, be safe, and we'll see you next time.